Hey there, welcome to today's episode. It's not going to be a long video. Koala Sampler has been updated once again. Always nice to see a new update. This one's pretty small. A couple of minor bug fixes, which I'm not even going to cover in this video. You can check those out in the App Store description. But it has introduced another way to lazy chop with Koala Sampler. I say another way because as long as you have the Samurai plugin, the little add-on that you can get for a couple of extra quid, that does help to support the developer, so I highly recommend it. Then what you get is access to a bunch of sample chopping, and we've had lazy chopping with Koala Sampler for some time. If I've got a sample loaded up here to a pad, I go to Edit, and I move over to my tools, go into Auto Chopping. Lazy chopping has always been here. It's on the right-hand tab. If I press play and then use this little icon, it will play back through the sample, and with this icon, I can tap and just punch in wherever I want my sample chop. So just lazy chopping like you might do on an MPC. The reason I bring this up is because these two modes are slightly different from each other. They're both lazy chopping modes. But when we use this one with this particular menu, I create my slices. I have access to a set of tools at the bottom. So if I want to create my choke groups now, I can do that. I can apply a choke group. I can set them all to be one-shots, keep an original copy, that type of thing, playthrough mode. When I chop these and I press chop, it will populate the pads. And those sample slices will be maybe like this. Let's say that was one little sample slice. You will see a very similar thing. It's non-destructive, so you will still have access to the entire sample, even though it's only going to play back a small portion where you've created that sample chop. But it's non-destructive, so if you need to tweak it and make an edit, you've kind of cut it a little short, you have access to do that. With the new lazy chopping mode, we're going to use the pads to kind of just chop through, and I'll do that in real time in a second to show you how it works. But it's very destructive. It means that whatever you record as your sample slices, that's it. You won't have access to the full sample anymore. Keep that in mind as we go through. So we need to set this back to the full thing. I think this mode is designed for those that like to use an external input source. So let's say I've got something loaded up, a cool sample that I found on vinyl. I want to play the record and I want to lazy chop that as it's coming from my input source. If I close the edit window down, that could be just my built-in microphone if I wanted to record my voice or something. It could be my audio interface that's plugged in. It will all come through your microphone input. Depends on what you've got plugged in. But you could do it in real time. I could play the record and just start tapping the pads to lazy chop that thing up. But it is very destructive. Keep that in mind. We've got a sample loaded to a pad. You can do it this way too. If I go to resample rather than using the input source, I can still play back this sample here, and I can start just doing my lazy chops. Couple of things, we need to go to edit and just make sure this is set to a one shot because I need it to just play back the sample automatically. Don't want to have to hold my finger on the pad. And when it comes to recording, it's the same as it's always been for recording inside a Koala Sampler. If I tap a pad to record, it records for the duration that I keep my finger on that pad. But if I press it and then push upwards on a pad, I can kind of lock the recording mode and it will record. I can take my finger away and kind of do it that way. The clever thing about the new sort of lazy chopping that we can do kind of manually is that it remembers the mode. So I'm going to do it by using the kind of hold and record method. And as I start tapping the pads, I don't need to push up every time I hit a pad to get it to lock the recording. It just remembers it and we can kind of bounce through the sample. So let's do it. I'm going to start by actually just setting off the first pad, and then I'm going to put my kind of lazy chops in wherever I feel like they should be. And there we go. Obviously, you can slice your samples up however you like. Keep in mind, though, that's the kind of hold and record method. But if I just tap the pads as that's playing back, it will do the same thing, but it only records for the duration you keep your finger there. That's the two different methods. But as you will notice now, this is the original sample, and we have access to everything. When we lazy chop using the other menu inside of the auto chopping function, then we get access to that full sample. So your slice may look a little bit like this, but you will see the rest of the sample that you can play with. And when we do it with this new method, this is all we have. We have exactly what we recorded. So it's a very destructive mode. There's no way of kind of extending this or adjusting it if you've made a bit of a mistake. That's kind of the difference between the two methods. Anyway, there's new functionality. It's here. It's your choice to decide which one you want to use. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care.